Hello, and welcome to Rayn's Cryptids, Myths, and Folklore. I'm Rayn, and today we're going to talk about gargoyles. All across the world sit stone creatures perched silent with frozen stares of contemplation at extreme heights. We know them as gargoyles. Now, gargoyles can be of all different heights and possibly with and without wings. But most sightings I have read seem to be with wings, so maybe the non-winged ones are a different cryptid altogether. The word gargoyle is thought to be from the name of a monster or cryptid in the 7th century called La Gargoule. Might not have pronounced it right. It was said that it terrorized the country of France in the region of Seine River before being killed by Saint Romanus, the Archbishop of Rouen. After the death of the beast, the lore says that its head was mounted on a church to keep other monsters at bay. So from there is where they started the stone statues on top of all the important buildings to serve as protectors or guardians, or thought to keep the creatures at bay. It turned the architectural world into a phenomenon as gargoyles sprouted up all over the world on such buildings as churches, cathedrals, or anything else that needed its protection from demons and evil spirits. Some believe that even the statues that are considered hybrids, which are of two different animals or more, are gargoyles. From my research, I don't agree. They would be considered chimeras. Not sure if I pronounced right, but that will be a different video. Most believe the beast from before is that a story. Didn't exist, or it was some animal, or maybe a dinosaur, and it was embellished as time went on. They also push that the statues were just decorative for waterspouts or for fountains. I personally don't believe this. Otherwise, we wouldn't have sighting stories still happening today. I believe the death of the creature actually happened. Now, whether putting its head on the building to keep them at bay works is up for debate. But I have some sighting stories to read to you now. 2004 comes from Reddit. The witnesses say this occurred in California's Central Valley around 10 p.m. He was skateboarding home when he heard what sounded like a gust of wind, even though it was a calm night. I looked up in the direction of the sound, and behind the slope of my neighbor's roof, I see two large wings flap and begin to fold, as if the creature had just landed there. As the wings were folding, I'd guess they were about 5 feet in length, and noticed that the house light from behind the creature trickled through the wings. They were opaque and leathery, not feathered like a hawk. It seemed to have heard me as I was passing it, and it became still, wings folded and rising over its circular head. It had no ears or horns or anything protruding from its head. It was just round. I couldn't see much more as the light was behind the creature, so it was a black silhouette, but the leather on its wings were brown. I pulled out my phone and tried to use the flashlight setting to get a better view of it as I was passing, but the light didn't reach far enough, and the creature slowly started to descend behind the slope of the roof until I no longer saw it. I ran into my home and laid in bed thinking about it. Next one, no year of when it's from, but it's from the paranormalist. She says that it happened one summer when she was 9 years old. One evening she was riding with her mother along a rural road somewhere in the U.S. It was crouched high in a half-dead oak tree that stood on the bank of a pond. The moon was full, or close to it, and the wind was still. I had enough time to see the creature, look for its reflection in the polished mirror of water beneath it, then look back up to confirm what I was seeing. I suppose I was wondering if it was a weirdly contorted part of the tree itself. Then the damn thing moved. At first I thought it was going to dive into the pond, but then I realized it was just turning away from the road. As we swept past it, I twisted around in my seat to keep it in sight. I swear, its eyes flared red from our taillights. Then I saw it had wings folded down its back. I estimated it to be about the size of a large dog or small goat, though the shape was wrong. It was holding itself in a hunched, compact, almost huddled position. It had arms and legs shaped like those of a monkey or lemur, but much thicker and bulkier. A primate of some sort seemed most likely, but I was puzzled because its body didn't look furry, but rather rough and scaly, like an alligator. When I caught a glimpse of the wings, I thought they looked like a bat's. Next one, 2005, from Reddit, rural ranch in Nevada. He was out on the property one dark night, with only his flashlight to provide illumination. I felt a sudden compulsion to turn my head to my front right. In the beam from the flashlight in front of my grandmother's chicken coop, about 15 feet from me, was an entity about 7 feet tall. It had its back to me. It half turned and looked over its left shoulder at me, turned enough that I could see it was definitely male. He had a rather long bulbous nose, large wings down to the mid-calves. Skin and wings looked leathery and was a taupe or pinkish color. No hair that I could see. He was thin, almost skeletal in appearance, with some sort of bony protrusions extending from the shoulders. I'll never forget it. It scared the crap out of me. 2010, from Phantoms in Monsters, Spring in West Joliet, Illinois. He says he was home enjoying a TV show with the windows open when he heard the muffled sobbing of what sounded like a crying woman. He went out to investigate the sound, and that was when he saw a 4.5-foot dark-colored entity sitting atop the neighbor's roof, which was crouched and hunched over, and distinctly reminded the witness of a gargoyle. The winged being stood and leaped from the roof, then dove towards the ground. As it descended, the huge 10 to 12-foot wings unfurled as it swooped upwards and quickly ascended into the night sky. Sounds like it might have been a lot taller. 2018, Abington, Massachusetts. He was out one night having a cigarette when he heard the whooshing sounds of what sounded like massive wings. I look up and see this winged creature land on my neighbor's roof and just sit there like a gargoyle would. I thought I was seeing things or seeing something wrong, but then the creature jumped up and flew away, and I could see its whole body. It was the size of a small human, but with massive wings. I couldn't see the creature's face because it was dark and it was on the roof facing away from me. It looked black with a wingspan maybe 4 or 5 feet. The creature itself, while crouched on the roof, looked the size of a smaller human, maybe 4 feet. I watched it trying to figure out what I was looking at for maybe 1 minute. Then it jumped and flew off. As it flew, it wasn't a massive creature, but it was definitely humanoid in appearance. Now it was on the roof next door, so the size could be larger. I wish I could have seen its face. Okay, that is it for my sighting stories today. I have more and will be doing an update with more sighting stories real soon, and any more information I come across. Also, I was thinking most of the sightings, they never seemed aggressive, just not wanting to be seen. Just a thought. What do you think? Comment below. Please like and share and subscribe. I would appreciate it. Now, it's time for Superstition for Thought. Today's thought is throwing salt over your left shoulder. Okay, so here's another one that doesn't have a lot of history to it. Surprise, surprise. But I did find possibly or originates from France. However, there are some sources believe it may date back to ancient Rome. In basic form, by throwing salt over your left shoulder, you are reversing bad luck. Simple enough. Now it is believed that the devil or evil is more prominent on your left side. Therefore, throwing salt over your left shoulder blinds and renders it helpless. Me, I have always thrown salt over my left shoulder for luck. So if you spill the salt, make sure to throw some over your shoulder for some luck, or maybe to reverse that bad luck. But that's all I found. So until next week, I'll see you then. Thank you.